on home. We're going to go right to our video link. We welcome to the show Christina Clifford, who is over on the east side of town. It would have taken her 2.5 hours to drive to our studio, so I appreciate the magic of the video. Christina, how are you doing, young lady? Good morning.
Like my transition glasses, so I'll take them off so you can see me.
Good morning, and nice to meet you virtually. One day we'll do it in person. Thank you for being here.
Yes,
Tell me, this
thanks.
this is our first time talking together. So that horrible night on that Christmas Eve, what happened from your what happened that night from your point of view? So people need to understand what you experienced, because after Paul left the house, we kind of know what happened, right? But
Yeah.
so give
So, it was Christmas Eve. It was December 23rd. We'd all gone to bed. It was 11:30 at night, and we so we all have our cell phones in our room, charging, and there was a knock on the door. We didn't hear it, but our daughter did, and it just paralyzed her. Who would be knocking at her door at 11:30, and then she saw a flashlight in her window, and so she called on the cell phone, and I woke Paul up and I said, there's somebody at the door. There's somebody flashing a light. And so he was like, what? And he gets up and he goes out the front door and he has some words, hey, and then he talks to him and he comes back in and he goes, it's just this poor guy. He's broke down. He's broke down with some kids. He needs help. So I need to go help him. He just said he needs a jump start. And I said, don't go. I don't know why I said that. I just said, don't go. And he said, I have to. And I said, well, call somebody. And he goes, who are we going to call? He's like, this guy looks poor as, you know, he doesn't have anybody to call. There's nobody coming. We live in a rural area. It's not like there's traffic going by and somebody could have stopped and helped him. It's not like we had patrol officers or any thought of an officer going by. So he went. He went to help them. I said, give me a minute, I'll go with you. And he went, no, you've been sick, you took a NyQuil, stay home. And then he went out the door, and that's the last I saw him.
So when did you realize that something? When did you first realize something happened and that it went so terribly wrong?
Well, I'd have to say, in the first 10 minutes, my daughter was like, I don't feel good about this. I feel strange. And I said, it's only been 10 minutes. It takes longer than that. We don't know how far down the road they were broke down. Give it a little time. About a half hour, she started looking at her Ford Pass app, and that was tracking her truck, and it had it near a nearby ranch. So we thought, okay, maybe they were friends of one of the ranch hands, and he's just giving them a ride back to the ranch. And she said, well, now it's been in a position for a while. And I'm like, well, okay, that's odd. So she just kept checking. She kept checking for updates. And when we saw on the Ford Pass app that it was going up over the Reddington Pass, which would have popped them out around Tanque Verde Road, we knew something was really wrong. There's no way. There's no way that Paul would have driven anywhere without coming back and telling us what was going on. He didn't have his wallet. He didn't have his cell phone. Like, no, this was not him. So that's when we called the sheriff's department,
Okay,
and they we called it in as a stolen vehicle, and they took it from there, and they remained on the phone with us tracking it until they found the vehicle.
gotcha. So this horrible thing happens. They make 3 arrests: a 40-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 16-year-old female.
Yes.
And so, what has been your experience with, before we get to the part of the plea deals, what had been the experience with the Pima County Attorney's Office from the time that these 3 idiots, psychos, were arrested to what happened that you found out last Friday?
Well, I just wanted to clarify, they were arrested a week after they
Yeah,
had been held up together. They were forcibly taken by SWAT teams.
correct.
So we immediately, we called in, we got our numbers, our information, to the jail, to the prosecutor's office, and we said we want to be in contact. We want to know everything that's going on. We want to know any court proceedings, all of it. We need to be there for Paul. And we watched the indictment over the Microsoft Teams, and I have to say I was absolutely disgusted because the first thing we notice is Wendy smirking, smug, freshly dyed hair, her makeup all done. This is just like laughing in our face. There was no remorse to any of them. Um, so we're following the indictment. We go to all of these little court case check-ins, and they don't really give you any information or any detail whatsoever. It took us a while to get our hands on the police report, which gave us more detail than anything. And in actuality, we got that police report from the Arizona Daily Star.
Wow.
Um, yeah. So
What did you learn from the police report, Christina?
we, oops, I lost you. What'd you say?
I said, what did you learn from the police report? Was my question.
The police report, I have to say, I honestly have not read the whole thing. I can't quite bring myself to do it.
I'm
My
with
daughter has like skimmed through and summarized it, and it was pretty clear that all three of them were lying. They wanted to say they weren't there, that they had nothing to do with it. As they were presented with evidence, their stories would change. Um, and we just never really got a clear idea, except for that they were all basically saying that they weren't there, they didn't do it, they have no knowledge of it, and that's kind of what they stood on. I know that the prosecutors have talked with them. We've been shared very little about those conversations. We talked with we were told, first off, we were told we would not get the death penalty. Because when we talked to the prosecutors, we said, we want the max amount of punishment for the three people that are responsible for this. We understood that they were all charged with first-degree murder, 10 counts on Wendy, 10 counts on Elmer, and 11 counts on Jack because they found him disassembling the weapon. So we thought, okay, all three of them are under some serious charges. We want the max amount. We were told right off the bat, Wendy, even though she's being tried as an adult, would not get a lengthy plea. The most that they would be able to get for her, the max, would be 25 years. We were told the max that they would be able to go for Elmer and for Jack would be a life sentence because Laura Conover says no to the death penalty. So at that point, we had a sit down with Laura Conover, who at that time had not even read the police report. She basically sat us down in her office and told us how sorry she was, and that was basically the same conversation she'd had with 200 other families, that she will not seek the death penalty. I begged her at that point to go for the max amount. It was a sit down of, let me tell you how it's going to go. I'm not going to listen to you. We're not here for you. We're not here for Paul. We're here because this is a legal system. And
Wow.
that's been made very clear to us. So, two conversations with the prosecutors. The last one that we had, they had talked with Wendy. They had told me I'm not allowed to tell anybody that. But now that they're offering these plea deals, I don't care. They told me they would not listen to her unless she was being brutally honest, that they would know that she wasn't being honest if she tried to protect Elmer because they knew he was involved. And so our understanding was that she was talking to them, that she was enlightening them to Elmer's acts, that how he helped Jack burn my husband's body and destroy evidence. And so, so Friday, I get out of the blue a call from my attorney that they have indeed had a homicide panel and that they decided that they are going to give Wendy probation only, Elmer 1 year, time served, and that they'll pursue trial with Jack. And they told me this late Friday afternoon, and they didn't directly tell me this. They called my attorney. So they're very careful to not put anything in writing. They have reached back out to my attorney. They do want a sit down. We have said, absolutely, this is not acceptable. We definitely want our voices heard. This is an insanely lenient plea. These people were involved in a horrific murder, and it's more than just the person that pulled the trigger. So hopefully we'll have that sit down. We were told that they're going to try to push the plea agreements through August 5th. So they're scrambling to try to do a meeting with us before then. And my attorney has reached out with some different dates for them. He is a pro bono attorney. He is in Tempe, Arizona, and this he's trying so hard, and I appreciate him so much. But telling you, I need you to be there tomorrow. They're not giving us any time to discuss or digest or any of this, and this can't be digested. This is just wrong.
I'm looking at the K-Gun 9 story from when they were first indicted. And so it said all three were facing charges of first-degree murder, armed robbery, aggravated assault, kidnapping, 2 vehicle thefts each, burglary, and tampering with evidence, which I assume is the disassembling of the gun, or maybe other things that were going on. That's some heavy-duty stuff to go to time served on the 19-year-old, and the 16-year-old being tried as an adult gets to walk. Well, actually, they both get.
Yeah, they do, because Elmer would be out January 2026.
Yeah. And Laura has been known for weak plea deals in the past. And so people who watch this show, listen to this show, know this is, sad to say, par for the course. So you were rightfully frustrated and pissed off by this last Friday. You did that amazing heartfelt
Absolutely.
video that went pretty viral in the region. And you've been on with Chorus, who's covered this story beautifully. And Catherine Patterson, I know KOLD did. You talked to her also. So then there's been a restriction of your communication with the county attorney's office. What happened there?
Yeah, so basically I said I want to file a complaint. I feel that my constitutional rights have been denied as Paul's next of kin. And that resulted in, I can't help you with that. Here's the link to the Arizona Attorney General's office. And we feel going forward, we want all communication to go through your attorney.
Gotcha.
So, to the letter of the law, they're still communicating, but they are just doing whatever they can to hinder it and make it harder.
So they do this homicide panel. Do we know who the homicide panel is made up of? Who?
No, all that we know about that is that they're picked by Laura Conover.
Gotcha. And then so they do this on, that's July 18th. That day was Friday. Maybe they did it the day before. But now they're saying August 5th they're going to slam it through. But since you've threatened a recall on Laura and been hitting the press, they want to at least check the box that they met with you before they enter the plea deal. That's what it feels like to me, Christina? Am I
That's what it feels like to me. That's what it feels like to me.
So when you talk about the idea of this miscarriage of justice, which it feels like to a lot of people in this situation, I want just talk about, Paul seemed like a really, really good man from what I've read
He was
about Paul.
he was my unicorn. He was amazing. He was my music man. He played piano, he played guitar. He was a martial artist. He has a beautiful soul. He
Yep.
filled my life with laughter. And Since he's been gone, I'm an ugly crier.
We're all ugly criers. Um, so that's the part that people don't get about this, right? And Laura and all of these folks is this hole in your family's life, right, is just being tossed aside because she wants to. She's always been soft on criminals. For some reason, the smirking Wendy and Jack, the 19-year-old, right? That's more important. Their lives are more important than the hole in your life, and that's the part that
Right.
pisses me off. And I know a lot of
You
other people.
know, Paul never even, in his 54 years, never even got a parking ticket.
Yep.
He was a teacher
Where did he teach?
at the Salmonwell schools. It's a pre-K through 9 or pre-K through 12 school, so they have it all in one.
Okay.
So he was the PE teacher. So he had all the little biddies all the way up to the high schoolers.
Oh wow. Well, I am so sorry for your loss. Don't stop recalling. She's
Right?
having.
It's only gonna take us 100,054 signatures.
It's a lot. Um, but because she's the reason why they're meeting with you with this bullcrap meeting is they want to have that in there. They're just checking the box on you, right? And
Well, I
they'll.
got a question. I
Yep.
got a question for them, and I'm going to demand an answer. I
Can you?
want to know why they charged Wendy and Elmer. And that question is a loaded gun.
Well, and that's the other part of it is go through the process, right? And the idea that we automatically went to time served on these two, or one's getting probation, the other one gets time served. Why now?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what? How do you? And I guess that's the other question. How do they get off with that? Participating in the ambush murder of your husband on Christmas Eve morning. How do they get away with that week of for doing that? Right? I don't care
Yeah.
if flipping on Jack or not.
It's
I
wrong.
right. Did they tell you that's why they're doing it? Because that Jack and the other and the
No.
girl flipped on.
No, the last we heard was that Wendy was flipping on Elmer and Jack, and that was the only reason they would even consider her testimony.
Right.
And they're not talking to us about what changed.
The it's we've been covering Laura for quite a while, and there is a wake of miserable victims' families in her wake since she's become the county attorney. And I'm sad to say you are learning the hard lesson of that through the horrible murder of your beautiful husband, Paul. So keep us updated. Stay strong.
I will. I will.
Because and don't stop on your recall effort.
No. Nope. I already have the 200 word draft for the application. I'm researching it.
You got to be persistent and consistent when it comes to this. And there's a lot of people in this town, and there's a bunch of people who either voted or their families voted for Laura Conover who are totally pissed about how she's handled their cases because we've had them on the show before. You're one of several different victims' families that we've had on the show that don't feel that Laura has served. She keeps saying the word justice, and as we say in The Princess Bride, you keep saying the word, but I don't know if you really know what it means.
Well, she'll tell you, or well, she tells the families of victims that this is not a justice system, that it's a legal system, and that's not acceptable,
Wow, we're going to have to take the word justice off of every court in America. That's weird. Thanks, Laura.
right?
Christina, thank you for sharing your pain with us. We're all behind you. And if you need help with anything, just ask because we're just not just a show. We have done a lot of activism in this town over the last 17 years. And I think there's some folks out there we can connect you with to help you do this.
Thank you. I appreciate all the help, and I appreciate everybody standing with me, and all of the stories that have been shared with me. They're just adding fuel to my fire. I'm not. This can't. No, Paul wouldn't want me to let this stand.
All right. Well, amen. We're praying for you. God bless Paul and all the great things he's done in 54 years. And we're going to keep the fight going with you. So keep up the good work, young
Thank
lady.
you. Thank
All
you.
right. You have a great day.
Bye bye. You
That
too. Bye
that
bye.
that is Christina Clifford, the widow of Paul Clifford. There's not much I can say about it. You've heard it. So let's go visit some great sponsors. CJ's coming up soon, and we'll do a little Ozzy, uh, little Iron Man part of remembering Ozzy. God bless. God bless Paul Clifford. That sounds like a beautiful soul, and God bless his family. So you're on the Live the Dream Media Network.